Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Let's Talk Real Life with Miss Nada Manning. I'm your co-host, Vernon Garrison. She will be speaking very shortly. Right now, you're on 107.5 WECU. Awesome Radio. Find us here on Awesome Radio Facebook, Awesome Radio YouTube, GPAT23, YouTube, and Facebook platform. Like, share, and subscribe. We surely hope you are getting your feel on some of the most current issues floating across social media and our lives, of course. We're doing this with a mission. We are an official ministry here at 107.5, and we don't do nothing for nothing. Our goal is to enhance and bring value to your lives through our talk shows. Right now, I want to introduce the best teacher on the East Coast. Right now, Miss Nada Manning, how are you today?
Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be with you all. I am doing well. I am ready to get started with this new topic that has been flourishing in both of our minds and hearts for a few weeks now.
Mm-hmm.
And the more we the more we think about things, the more things seem to face us as we individually go on our daily lives, facing different things as it pertains to our subject for this particular. And I believe it's going to be at least part 2 of this topic. We'll see how it goes. It is my pleasure to see you all again, and just hold on and try not to get too bent out of shape, and just sit back and digest what we have to share with you. It is pertinent information, and let me tell you what the topic is. Actually, it's a question. Are men the better parent? Oh, let me say that again.
Come on.
Are men the better parent?
Woo.
Are they? Are they really? I'm sure I'm going to get different opinions, different thoughts. And I say what I normally say about some real life issues as we talk about real life. I say my answer is it depends. It depends. Are men the better parent? In some cases, yes. In a lot of cases, actually, I would say yes. So moms, just hold on. Don't get an attitude. I am a mom also and a grandmother. So it is a valid question. Are men the better parent? And I didn't say badder, Badder. I'm saying Better. Better. Are men the better parent?
She's just drawing it out. You're just drawing it out. There's no need to just get into this thing. Get into this thing. I'm
drawing it out because somebody is too anxious to get started because he's a parent. He got a whole lot to say. And so yes, I'm dragging it out so he can hold his peace.
Well, I could give you a layup anyways. Men can't be the better parent if they're not there. Okay. So I'll just give you a couple of points ahead already. There you go. The scoreboard just lit up right there. That boom. Men can't be better parents if they're not not involved in their child's life. Okay. So they get, notice I said involved in their lives. So they automatically let the woman win.
You just bust the whole bubble that I had all the air in the balloon for.
No, well, you wanted something. I had to give you something. You said I was anxious. But let me share. I'm getting our opening information, ladies and gentlemen, from goodmenproject.com. If you want to go there, check it out. But I'm getting some bits and pieces from them, but they get all the credit for the research. That's what they put it out there for. And here's a little narrative where a mom had written about her experience. I guess an observation of a dad interacting with a daughter. And it says, I sit on the couch, curled up with a nightcap and watching an episode of Friends. I've seen it at least 6 times. Now, my husband is bathing our daughter, and I hear her laughing. I smile at the silliness they're exchanging. These little moments happen every day between my husband and daughter. She is, well, without a doubt, a daddy's girl. I couldn't be more thrilled of having such a wonderful man in her life. Though I can't help reflect on my interactions with my daughter. I try to be silly, but she hears the inauthenticity in my voice, and I goof around with her, and the laughing fizzles out, and it turns into, I want this, and I want that. And where I play, the bad guys are saying big no. The waterworks start. The tantrums begin. But I want it. But I want it now. So there's an experience where mom is finding herself ending up with her daughter seeing her as some type of disengaged, lackluster provider, and she don't like it. She's the daughter. When they start doing stuff, her daughter wants something. So there's a pleasing type thing that has a comfort type relationship that she makes her mom struggle with to try to comfort her. Okay, yeah, that's what the daughter turns their interaction into. But looking at the first bold print statement, men can focus on one thing. Only being able to focus on one task is viewed negatively, well, you would think. Now, the inevitability of the multitask is a male trait. Men can store various thoughts in their metaphorical closed closet until they need to look at them later, one box at a time. When my husband plays with our daughter, he has a dad box, open field of sunder, childlike adventures, and free-spirited fun. As a mom, on the other hand, I have a table full of boxes open to analyze at all the time. I can turn off mom mode. Okay, so here we go with what they just gave us. They're saying right away the dad is more creative. So let me ask you something, Ms. Nada. Are women just getting their children, taking them from, I'm gonna throw some shade now, taking them over to mother-in-law's house, see what she cooked, going to the store, buying a doll baby, going looking at the game, taking the child to ballet, or taking the child to dance, or taking the child to choir practice, or taking the child, picking the child from that? Are women just carting the children around, trying to interact with them, and they making themselves look busy like they're really getting something done? Uh-oh. I told you don't get mad at me. But I mean, is that what's happening?
I want to make sure that I'm understanding your question.
Yeah. Are y'all just babysitters?
The reason why women carry their children from place to place is because they want to look busy, you say?
Yeah. I mean, you're hearing a mom saying whenever she starts to do stuff with her daughter, it's just she's there. And it ain't a minute. It ain't well, the moments, end up with, I want this, I want that,
With so mom.
Yeah, with mom. So our women they got the kids, got 2 or 3 of them, both hands. Or the women just walking around doing stuff with children, but not that intimately involved?
That's a twofold question.
Yeah.
Again, it depends on the mom. It depends on the type of mother that she is. Are there women like that? Yes. Can children see through that? Yes. because I don't think it's too often that children don't see what the real truth is when it comes to their parents.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The interaction that's going on between mom and her children should be genuine. It should be one that the child can actually relate to and enjoy. But the truth of the matter is, real life answer, it depends on the mother and her reason for doing what she's doing to satisfy the child. Yeah, but she should also, as a mom, be getting some satisfaction out of that child being satisfied, if that makes sense. Because again, the child can see through what's genuine and what's not. Some children are so smart these days, they'll just come right out and ask mom, are you giving me everything I want so that I can say that you are a good mom? Or are you giving me everything I want because you really, really love me? Or you really want me to get out of your way or get out of your hair so you can go do. Some children are bold enough to come right out and flat out ask the question.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you being so nice to me, mom?
Mm-hmm.
Why are you giving me everything I want? Or just the opposite. Why don't you give me anything that I want, mom? So you asked me about the mom.
Yeah, yeah.
The subject is about the dads. So if mom is not playing, but mom is actively carrying both positions, mom and dad, mom have to split herself anyway to the point where yes to some things and no to other things, bold and hard to some things, soft and loving and emotional and other things. So that's a long answer to your question about why moms are just doing these for these children and taking them here and there. It depends.
So
it depends on the relationship between the mother and the child.
So that means we sort of getting gaslighted a little bit. Moms are looking busy, but there's a different type of busy that looks effective rather than what they're talking about. The fact they're saying men can only focus on one thing at a time, but they also can open that closet and focus on that one thing and be very effective on that one thing. So that's something right there that is really interesting, because men have taken, and we're talking men, all population, men sort of have, let's say the court system, have taken a role where I remember being a guardian ad litem. And I was between working with children that have been perhaps, in some cases, presumed, sorry about the phone, ladies and gentlemen, presumed neglected. And I had to go and spend time with a child in their father's environment. Then I'd go and spend a few weeks visiting the child in the mom's environment, if they were split up, or the mom and the dad. And I'd go between there and perhaps the grandparents' home. And I had to, make a report that was submitted to the judge and also Department of Social Services. So I do subliminally know a lot of the answers to these questions, but most of the time in court, people wanted to see if the mom was a nurturer enough to care for that child. That was like the center. And if the mom couldn't be the nurturer, then that's when all this started. That's when dad had a chance. And I'm thinking, just by being the nurturer, now that studies are coming out saying men are better parents, just by being a nurturer, kind of like, wait a minute. Just because you can get the child to stop crying and they say, I want mommy, that just means that they can get stuff. that they won't, and that's why they stop crying. Not that they're becoming a better person and they're having all of their character and their needs built with mom. I just thought, because you go to court, most of the time women coming out there with that child, period. And if she's got a stable lifestyle, if any bit of that lifestyle is stable, she is the winner. Winner chicken dinner. And if the dad is not doing what he's supposed to be doing, he going to jail, especially if he ain't paying that money. So we've been locking up the best parent. How did that get to that?
Let me rephrase that statement.
Ooh.
Okay.
I'm listening.
We are not saying that the dad is the best parent. We're saying he's the better parent. There is a difference.
Oh, is it?
Okay. There's a distinct difference between being the best and being better. Okay. So I don't think it's fair to say that the dads or fathers or the men in the lives of these children are the best.
I've been reprimanded already, ladies and gentlemen. I've been reprimanded already. Now I'm gonna give you a couple.
I say that there is better in a lot of cases. I would say percentage-wise, they're better. I would say 80%. The larger percent, I would say that. Now we talking dads now. There's a difference in a dad and a father.
Yeah. We're presuming that if we say either one of them today, that we're talking about the one that's doing his job, not just the father or the dad who, the sperm donor. That person is not in this conversation. When men are parenting, and it looks like we got some other data coming up probably on the second half of the show. We're moving pretty quickly though. We got other data about things that men do. So in case people want to, how do I say this? See why these conclusions have come up. This is the type of conversation that we want to lead up to you having your own conclusion, ladies and gentlemen. I was just measuring that. Wait a minute. Y'all been saying deadbeat dad for a long time, and also saying these are my children. These are my children. These are my children. These are my children. And now science and studies are proving that it's really both of y'all's children. In fact, the men might be the better of the two parents when they're really doing what they're supposed to be doing.
I have a question.
I might not have the answer.
So, having said that, what makes you think that the mom who carried the child, who's raising the child, who's keeping the child, who's caring for the child, what makes you think that she is feeling some kind of way about dad being a part of the child's life? If she knows who the dad is, that's a whole nother story.
All right, say that again now. What makes me feel, go ahead.
What makes you feel that the mother who is caring for the child have inner feelings about dad's involvement to the point where she's always saying it's her child? She's what makes you say, and I'm not saying you're wrong, I'm saying what is your thought on her coming to that statement, which is said a lot, this is my child, this is my baby, give me my baby, as if there was no dad involved at all, and he could very well be, but yet she's saying that it's her baby. So what makes you say Why do you think the mothers say that? Why do you think the mothers have that attitude? This is my baby. This is my child. I'm going to go get my child. And she could be talking to the dad when she said, I'm going to get my child. I don't know what you're going to do, but I'm going to get my child. He's locked up. She is out on the street. I'm going to go get my child.
Okay.
What makes you think or feel that mother, why does that mother have that behavior?
Okay. Now, number one, I'm going to say this.
Realistically now, not statistically.
I'm going to say realistically, number one, it is her child. Because hold on, but I'm about to expand that to the way that I said it. When it is her child, when you're speaking in the terms that somebody wants to know who wants to know about that child or information, you're the representative. You're one of the representatives of that child. Not just because you had the child, because you didn't make the child. You didn't plant the seed, the child, for the child to exist on this earth. You co-parented that child. So both parents have the right to be recognized when you are trying to identify this child. That's for you got the common last name. I guess traditionally, that's why the man gets married to a woman and she takes his last name. Okay? So looking at from identifying whose child it is, you can't say but so much when you're getting the dad to sign the birth certificate at the birth of the child. The documentation is very apparent that it's not just your child. I'm not going to go around saying I drive a Honda. Eventually, I'm going to drive, an Accord. I'm just driving an Accord. What's an Accord? No, it's a Honda Accord. You got to recognize the parent of that car. Oh, I drive a Civic. I drive a Civic. What is a Civic? Oh, a Honda Civic. That's what you mean. So you got to I turn this thing on vibrating, still cutting up down here. You have to, so many times you're going to mention, that's my child, that's my child. No, that's me and Mr. Jones' child. That's me and Vernon's child. Now, how many times are you going to go around identifying this person, this little person that you brought into this world is just your child? So you go to overstep your boundaries when you don't acknowledge the other CEO of that child's life. You tell me, oh, I build cars. You got to say, I work for the Chevrolet dealership. I work for the Nissan, or sell cars. I work for the Nissan. You got to acknowledge the father in most situations in life. Second, when it comes to you identifying whose child it is, you can begin to cancel out the identity of the father to that child when you keep saying, this is my child, as if the child has no father. I'm going to stop right there because you want to say something, because I had another point.
I'm not denying anything that you have said, but you did not answer my question.
Okay, say it one more time.
I'm asking, what or why do you think the mom who goes around saying this is my child for various reasons, like I just said, the child is hurt or the child is missing or the child is in the street, why is she so insistent on saying this is my child? And she's saying it with many times with an attitude. She's upset, of course, because the child is in trouble wherever he or she is. But she's steady saying, and like I said, even in front of the dad, I'm going to go get my child.
Well, like I said, that's because she had the child. It's her child. And she's just saying, this is my child. Where I have a problem with is saying it's my child so much that you're not acknowledging that I'm the father. So, and then my other point is this: when you begin to weaponize that it's my child, that's when you definitely don't acknowledge the child's father, whether he's a good father or a bad father. And then children will come behind you and say, I don't have a dad. What, you a test tube baby or something? So that will get translated into something negative, and I call that emasculation or weaponization of that term. This is my child. So I hear what you're saying, but I just said the part, it is good to identify that that's my child, but if your child is missing, oh, he don't have a dad, the dad is not concerned that the child is missing or in trouble in school. Maybe not, but he still got one. Okay, go ahead.
I think maybe I didn't phrase it correctly.
Yeah, maybe not.
I'm thinking that, yeah. And I'm not going to prolong this particular
Okay.
point. I'm going to move on.
All right.
But there are various reasons why the mother would behave in such a manner. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
So, having said that, we're talking real life, folks. I am your host, Nada Manning. I'm talking with co-host Vernon Garrison. We are talking about men being the better parent. Are they? Are they really? And if you think they are, we would love to hear from you. Send us a message in Messenger or Facebook or some type of comment that you want to make. You know, you can call in to the station and leave a message and we can respond that way. But are men the better parent? That's the question.
All right, got another point. In this article, so you won't think all this is coming from me, it says the men, we're going to get deeper, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all just stay tuned. The women are saying they're more fun. This particular mom says, now, there are fun moms out there, and don't get me wrong, I've met a few, but for the rest, just because we aren't fun doesn't mean we don't love our kids. I lose it once in a while. I have so much on my kids' metaphorical plate that I need to get done. I'm seemingly not always there mentally. As for men, we have to admit how fun they can be in the simplest ways. I can summarize this as saying, I see the mom talking to another mom at the playground where the kids are playing. But I can see the dad. Now, I'm not saying moms don't push their babies in the swing, okay? So y'all don't get your socks in a wad. But I can see the practicality between me playing with my son. Now, I'm going on my experience. I played with my son. We didn't necessarily play Cowboys and Indians, but that's the thing that we did. We did pro wrestling a lot. Man, I would take him and I would pick him up and body slam him on the floor, and then he would jump on me, and then I'd have to roll over, then he'd pin me down, and he'd be tapping on the floor, and then I'd get up just in time. That, I believe, is what she's saying, that children, now these are studies, ladies and gentlemen, argue with the study, but they're saying that the children are having more fun with the dads.
Okay. That's nice.
I'm trying not to do all this.
That is mighty nice of you men and you dads out there that's doing all these wonderful things and playing with the children. And I take my hat off to you. If I had one on, I would just take my hat off to you. Kudos to you men, you dads out there that are really going overboard with your children. And it is critical. I've been saying that for weeks and months now. how important it is for dads to be in their children's lives. Now, just switching off that just a little bit, thought just came to mind about some of these uh, um, fill-in dads. Filling in.
What's a fill-in dad?
A fill-in dad would be
stepdad
a dad
or something?
Huh?
A stepdad?
Or a boyfriend.
Oh, you degrading our blended families out there. You about to get in trouble. You calling it stepdads that get with somebody that's already got children. You calling them fill-in dads.
Well, I say fill-in dad because he's not the birth dad.
I ain't never heard that. That sounds like you saying substitute teacher. That is so disheartening. I feel bad. Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize on behalf of Let's Talk Real Life with Miss Nada Manning to all the fill-in dads that's filling in until somebody else gets there.
No, see, now you're taking it out of context.
Yes, I was.
I say fill-in dad because we're talking real life here. There are many moms out there that are not with the natural fathers, and they have boyfriends in their lives, okay? Male friends, if you will, in their lives as moms. And, and those male friends are actively involved in the children's lives because, number one, he obviously really cares about the children, and he cares a lot for the mother. So I call him a fill-in dad, but I don't want anyone to take that out of context because they are not, even though they are not the birth fathers and they are not married to the mother. So you can't say it's a stepdad because he's not married to the mom.
Got you. So in other words, this fill-in dad, nowadays, there are some principles that women don't let the men get even anywhere close to their children until they have reached a certain status in the relationship. So, or an approval, if you will. And so if they became this fill-in dad status that you're talking about, they probably earned it because, nowadays, ladies are very protective of the children. Okay, you were talking about the fill-in dads. Carry on.
And you're saying nowadays, but I can honestly say that as well when mine was coming up, and that's not nowadays. Mine was back in the day. Okay, because let's face it, real life issue is even back then when the father have passed on and mom is trying to develop another relationship with another fella. She's not married to him yet. And he's developed a relationship with her and her children. So he is kind of sort of a fill-in father. Well, the children get attached to that fill-in because they haven't experienced much of their own dad for various reasons. Dad is not around. So I call them fill-in dads not to put negativity in the situation, but it is what it is. How about that? It is what it is. He's not the real father. He's filling in, and it may become permanent. It will be nice and wonderful and a blessing that would develop into a flourishing relationship between him and mom. Not just for him and mom, but also for those children to have a whole life, WHOLE life with a parent, with both parents. Again, not necessarily the natural fact, but you know what I mean. You got the mom and the dad around. You got the man and the woman that's taking care of these children. So to those children, they obviously, I think they might know that that's not my real dad, but he does this and that and the other for me, and he's been around and he's been taking me to the games and all the stuff that fathers do. That's wonderful. That's developing that child to be wholesome, I think, because we are saying, are the men the better parent?
Well, I think on that same note, I know some dads, biological dads, that got a lower status than
a fill-in
dad. And it's because the woman have said, this is my child so much, psychologically that she sold it to him. And I think that is definitely a sin. I think that messes up the natural, not just saying what this guy wants for his child, but I think that it messes up the natural organic flow of fatherhood to the point that he actually becomes the demon that she creates.
And that is not good. That is not good at all.
I have seen it. My mom told some think I'm just throwing shade at ladies who are the alpha chicks in the house, and they, some people say the men are hen peck, or they don't let or they can't discipline the child, or they say that the woman won't let them discipline the child. But for whatever reason, you can look at it from a negative perspective of both of them living right there in the same house. It can be worse. I heard my mom say, your dad is the sorriest thing. She just repeated that over and over and over and over and over, always saying these things. Now, I didn't expect my dad to be Superman on the block. I didn't know people had statuses that your dad was supposed to be everything to everybody. So whatever she said about him, he was still my dad. Now, okay, I'm going to use present times. It's almost like some children will practically disown their fathers because their mothers disown them.
Yeah, that is true.
And it's like,
not right, but you're absolutely right. You're true. That's true. They do.
Yeah. That is
yeah.
That's really, really disheartening, but it is so true.
Yeah.
And that's where that my child comes in, where you said, I think you were trying to get me to say it, is my child, like I'm the only thing that child has. That's why I'm saying is my child. He ain't got nobody else.
Why doesn't he have anyone else?
The dad is in jail, or the dad is not in the child's life, or so when you say that that's my child, then still, now you may not want to acknowledge that the child's father is in prison. I don't know what that's like to a woman to be in that situation. They'll probably just say the dad is not around, or we don't get along, or something like that. So I can see where they gotta proclaim from the rooftop that the only person claiming this child is me, because look at what just happened. So I'd say if we continue to talk about these subjects like this, we're gonna have to make and let it lead to some changes, because now today on this show, this is the introduction. This man is definitely needed, and it's almost like we got to vote on saying the man is okay. The value of this man is greater than we'll ever acknowledge, and now we got to vote him back into the family, when certain things need to happen from birth or prior to birth. That this man needs to be able to sort of like worship this new baby that's coming. He needs to be told, this is your child that's coming. This is your baby that was born. This is your seed that was planted. This is your honor. This is your legacy. This is your child. When the baby is born, the mom can hold the baby for a few seconds for a time, but the dad needs to hold that child right away, ASAP. That dad needs to be told, this your child. If not for reasons of saying that if you ever consider leaving or stepping out, you're not stepping out on me. You're not cheating on me. You're cheating on your child. Right. But he needs to have that child in his hands He needs to, he may not be able to breastfeed, but he needs to begin to feed that baby.
Right.
My child, I'm gonna give you an example. My child could not. My child, my then wife couldn't get the milk out. The milk wasn't flowing like it should, so she made milk bottles. And I came home after working third shift and sat there. I put one of the frozen milk bottles in the hot water, and I melted the doggone bottle and contaminated the milk. I put the big bottle in there. I fell asleep standing there right by it. I went and called.
You go, Dad.
I went and called. There you go. See that? There you got a nice 2-point shot there. I called my wife on the phone at work, and I said, "You need to come home. Tell that man you went back to work too soon." And I took care of them for 5 years. I couldn't wait to get home because I knew I was about to see my baby, and we were going to get down in the floor and we were going to do our thing. So that made me sort of an ultra provider at that time. So there's no way I stood by even when she was having we got the electric breast pump, okay? And that thing was ding, ding, ding. It was filling up some milk bottles more like Mayola. So anyway, yeah, I could not wait. So that created a bond between all three of us. Because I didn't have to wait for her to get home from work, and all three of us built a bond together. And so it won't know that's my child. It was this is my baby. Yeah, that's his daddy right there. That's his daddy. Because man, I was there all of his life, younger life.
And that's wonderful. That's wonderful. You are a good example to all of those dads out there who are listening. If you're in a position, and I think last show I might have mentioned that, don't be so quick to kick dad to the curb, moms, because they are needed. They really, really are. They can fill in some huge gaps. I'm here to tell you now. They really, really can if you give them a chance. Now, there are some dads out there that don't know any better. Well, when we have our first, if we're young enough, how much do we know? We don't know a whole lot either as the moms. So why not learn together? If you want to keep the child's interest in mind and at heart, then why can't you do it together? Well, there are a gazillion reasons why. Maybe because neither one of you really was ready to be a parent yet. Stuff happens. We talking real life. Stuff happens. All of a sudden, bam. Okay, you go to him and say, you know what? I'm pregnant, and it's your baby. Have a discussion about what we're gonna do, and that's any age. That could be 19. That could be 25. That could be 30. When it wasn't expected, then you have that conversation, especially if you're not married. And sometimes if you're married, you might not be ready to have any yet. It happens. So discussion is necessary. You two, you want to pull together, like Coach just said. You want to be there for that baby. If you decide to have that baby, which is a whole nother subject too. These days, I'm hearing over in the news about whether to have the baby or not, and anyway, that's a whole nother subject.
Okay.
The word of God says that we should take care of our children.
Right.
When that baby is conceived, the parents should make a way, some kind of way, to be accountable for what has happened in that conception of that baby. That's life. That's the way it should be. But many times, especially with the younger parents, they don't really know all they should know because they weren't taught. And that goes back to the wholesome household where mom and dad is there. If dad is missing, again, this is bringing out the point. Are men the better parent? Well, if you're not married, it doesn't matter. If you're the parent, if you the parent of that child that's coming in this world, then you would want to actively, consistently be a part, even from conception, as that mother carries through with that pregnancy, because it starts then. I don't think it should start when the baby come in the world. No, that mother needs your support from the very beginning. Why? Because she didn't get pregnant by herself. She needed you to have that baby, to have gotten pregnant. She couldn't have done it by herself. So don't let her carry that whole load from conception right on to whoever, how many years without you being around. So yes, I think men can be the better parent. And there are some men out there that are better parents than us mothers. Let's keep it real. There are some men out there, a lot of them want to be closer to the baby, their child, but they are blocked for whatever reason. And many times it's because of the mother. Not all the time, but many times it's because of the mother. So moms, all of you young mothers out there, please, please, please reconsider about not letting that man be in that child's life. Don't go down that road, because you're going to end up on a dead end street going nowhere. And you know who's going to suffer? The one that's always in the middle, and that's the child. So it's time to stop being selfish once we become parents, because it's not about us anymore. Our life is on hold forever, how many years? 18, 20, 30, 40, some 50-year-olds are still at home, unfortunately, for various reasons. But that's something to think about. And I just want to encourage everyone, as we have about another 10 minutes, maybe 8 minutes.
I got some more information right here. Don't try to do no filibuster.
Well, we're going to have a part 2 anyway.
Yeah.
No doubt. But you want to get your point in on this part 1. I understand that.
No, actually, we can do this second show, this information here. I'll just throw some more words into what you're saying now. My dad was a disabled veteran.
And don't forget the love that comes from the fathers. I want to put that out here in part 1 and part 2.
Gotcha.
Love, love, is needed from dad. He have a different kind of love for his children than the mothers do.
So my dad was a disabled veteran, and he didn't do a lot with me. He rarely talked to me, but he was just sitting there in that chair most of the time. And but he would go out and get drunk and come back home falling all down in the street. I went out there and got my dad. I was not embarrassed because of who he was not or who he was. Now, mind you, I had tunnel vision. I didn't have to know that your dad had to be some, like I said earlier, Superman. So it was just my dad. So when my parents divorced, I'm like, I want to go back home with my pops. What are we doing up here? So I spent 1 year with my family after they divorced. And then I was like, I'm going back to stay with my dad. And I went there, and he had we started a liquor house. We had liquor by the shot. I was a bartender at 15 years old. I mean, we sold liquor, beer, gambling in the house. None of that stuff affected me and made me a bad person.
Right.
I could smoke a cigarette anytime I wanted to. I couldn't stand it. I could take a drink anytime I wanted to. I didn't do it. I didn't become an alcoholic. So it was just, he was my dad, starting with who he was and whatever he brought to the table. I didn't disassociate him from being my dad because of what my mom said he was, or my brother and sister didn't talk to him. They didn't really seem like they cared about him at all. But I didn't have that talent. I saw him as somebody who brought me into this world. And when he said, Vernon, bring me a glass of water, man, I get it. Just like, now it's like treat your dad with respect or not, based on what his status is in society.
And to me, and I commend you for having that respect for your father. I think that a lot of young men out there today and boys who hopefully and prayerfully will be listening to this show will understand as they experience some things like that with their fathers, alcoholic or drug addict, or I don't know if I want to put abuser in this category or not, because that right there is kind of inexcusable. Because that's a physical thing. You're talking emotions. And when you have those feelings for your dad, no matter what, that's still your dad. And I commend you for having that respect for him. And it also develops the young man, such as yourself, into being the father that you have been to your son. None of us are perfect. We all know that. None of us are perfect. We all have flaws. We all get attitudes and mood swings. And I'm telling you, it becomes very, very ugly in front of our children. So we want to keep that in mind as we come to a close with this show. And we will be doing a part 2. Because the question still remains, are men the better parent? Now, they can be the better parent, as the coach just expressed. Dad was who he was, but to his son, he was a good parent. And that's what matters. Who are you, fathers, dads? Who are you to your child? That's another question. Who are you going to be to your child? And it's up to you how you present yourself. We are coming to an end. It has been a pleasure as we move on to part 2 of this show. Are men the better parent? And the second question was, who are you going to be to your child as a man, as a dad? Father God, thank you for this time. We come to an end of this show, giving you the praise and honor as always. Without you, Lord, we cannot function. We cannot move forward. Giving us the skills that's required to be good parents, Lord. We have to depend on you and all that you put in our lives to help us and show us how parenting should be. Allow us to listen, Lord. Touch our minds and hearts to adhere to what's being said and done, not just through this show, Lord, but in our lives, period, in our environment. You know all about that. In Jesus' name, be with us, I do pray. Amen.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this has been another episode of Let's Talk Real Life with Miss Nada Manning. Join us every time you see us, but primarily on Wednesdays on 107.5, 11 at night, I believe, 11 p.m., and other times that we'll broadcast, of course, on social media. 107.5 WECU Awesome Radio.